Hey, what's up, guys? Anthony here, Audioslave Podcast, episode 24. It is August 20th. We're coming at you this week with an original episode. No interview this week. Got a cool set list planned. In the main segment, we're going to get into some hot takes. We're calling this the BYOHT, Bring Your Own Hot Take segment, and we're excited for this one. So, Tony, how you guys doing? Nate, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Feeling good tonight.
Yeah, I'm doing good too. Drinking a little drink, hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Tony, what's going on tonight?
Real quick, hit us on the socials if you haven't checked us out there at Audioslave on Twitter and Instagram. Email at audioslavepodcast@gmail.com, and we are very active on all of those platforms. So hit us up there. Wanted to do a quick shout out. We had was the Rock Matters podcast. They checked us out. Itch Rocks on Twitter. They checked us out and had a little commentary about 311 that we talked about 2 weeks ago, Transistor coming out. So that was cool. Thanks, guys, for checking us out. Thanks for listening. And then, we want to welcome some people. If you guys are new, you were with us last week with the Jason Tate interview, and you've stuck with us. Much appreciated. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell both. Let's keep these podheads growing. We want to keep this thing rolling along. So much appreciated if you're sticking with us.
We got a great pipeline of guests coming up too. So if you liked the interview, you'll like what we have coming up too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, good call. Can't stop, won't stop.
So Nate, first part of the set list tonight, that Corey Taylor feature on that Tech N9ne song. We all have thoughts. We're going to start with you.
Yeah, I listened to it this morning when we were chatting via text, and I was like, okay. I heard some old school Corey Taylor early Slipknot aggression on there, which was nice. Which made me think, kind of jogged my memory a little bit. Like, I thought this was going to be a departure from that, but apparently not. I mean, Corey Taylor, he's going to be who he is, so that that stands out. And obviously, the other two singles show that range. So, the song was kind of all over the place. I'm not even really sure how I feel about it. I only got one listen in, to be completely transparent. So, what about you?
I listened. So, did we say the name of the song? It was called "Bitch Slap."
Bitch slap, yeah.
Yeah, which was interesting, and it had a few features on it. Like, I think, was it Hobson was on there? There was another guy. I'm not too versed with Tech N9ne. Like, I know he is well respected in the rap game, but he's also kind of in that twisted ICP kind of group too. Like, he can float. Like, he's had features on Lil Wayne's, I think, Carter 4, and I've liked what I've heard. Like, he's skilled. I don't think this song was for me though. Like, it wasn't cohesive.
As soon as you said the twisted thing, like, that's where my mind went when I was listening to it. So I immediately kind of just, I don't know, distanced myself from it. And I was on a walk too, so it's like I couldn't run away from it. But I was like,
you couldn't.
It was in my headphones. But I was like,
God damn it, I'm stuck.
That connotation, I was like, I kind of want to skip. Like, I don't want to play it, but we have to.
For me, the best part of the song was Corey Taylor.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded like kind of old school, early 2000s Slipknot.
Yeah.
But over like a rap beat, a hip hop beat, which was actually kind of cool. Like, that's kind of what I was hoping CMFT was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be more of that on that solo Corey Taylor record. We don't know. We've only heard those two songs. But yeah, that was for me the best part. It was a jumbled mess. I agree. And I'm probably in the same boat as you, Twan, as far as Tech N9ne goes. I know the name. I've heard him on stuff. I haven't disliked him, but he definitely can kind of weave in and out of that kind of nu metal-y type, rap rocky type stuff, which is hit or miss for me. I mean, some of it I love, and some of it I'm like, I could take it or leave it. So he's definitely got flow. Like, the guy can rap. It's that part's been proven out. But I think the best part of this song was hearing Corey over that type of music was different for me, and I liked it, that part.
What it did make me think about was that I would love to hear Corey on a straight up rap beat. Like, no, I mean, not like a trap beat, but like throw him on a Drake beat, see what would happen. Because he can flow. I mean, the intro to Spit It Out, like, that's for all intents and purposes rapping, and he can flow. Although, do you want to hear a 45-year-old Corey Taylor rap? I mean, maybe.
Depends on how it's done, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd check it out for sure.
Yeah.
We may get that. We may get that on that album in a couple of months when it comes out. So mine's already ordered. It's signed, so I'm excited about that at least.
Oh, sweet. limited edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like from the singles, those 3 so far, it seems like it's kind of all over the map. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like so cohesive in that sense, but we've talked about how we're kind of in a single-oriented landscape these days anyway, so maybe it doesn't even matter. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like I hear like Corey's like old school, like super aggressive, like yelling and so forth. And over the rap beats, it was like more so something you find on YouTube, like kind of like a
One of those mashups. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like an actual pressing.
Right.
So, but it was cool. I liked it, but I don't know if I like it. Like this is something I'll dig. It just seems like an experiment more than like an actual record. But
yeah, I was in the car and I was just kind of paying attention to it, but not really clicking with it. And then he came on and I perked up. Like it was totally like, oh, okay, maybe if it was just this, I might like this. But where it was kind of all over the map, it was a little. Yeah. It was tough. I might need another couple of spins for me to get it. I guess I don't know. I mean, the name of the song too, it's kind of tough in 2020, right? Like it's probably not necessary at this point, but it is what it is.
And you can tell it's one of those songs that, and I assume it was recorded recently in the last 6 months, where it was just like, hey, here's an emailed beat, do your part, which leads to the lack of cohesiveness or cohesion.
I hope we don't get more of that as the time goes on here.
I think it happens more than we think.
Probably, yeah.
Even pre-COVID, where it's like everyone's touring and on the go. People have studios in the back of their tour bus. They can do that and not miss a beat with touring and every other thing that they do. But this was a Tech N9ne song with.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so this will not be on CMFT.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But I mean, they've got a couple. There was another in looking for this one, I found a different Tech N9ne song with Corey Taylor on it. So they've obviously got a relationship. I didn't realize that until now, obviously, with the song, a couple weeks ago, and then this one, and then seeing a third one. I was like, oh, well, they're boys somehow, right? So that, yeah. Second set list item. Want to hop into that?
Yeah, Deftones.
What was it, Nate?
It's Deftones,
right? Deftones are kind of like cryptidly announcing that they're going to be dropping a new album this fall, which we've all been kind of anticipating for quite some time. So that was exciting to get some official news. As soon as you see it officially, it's like, all right, cool, nice. It's almost like Apple like saying, all right, we definitely are going to be releasing a new MacBook or whatever. Not that we're huge Mac fans and we all use the equipment, but it was like, nice, this is on. And yeah, I'm stoked. And in fact, I went to Steph Carpenter's Instagram, and he was posting for the first time in like 4 years. I'm like, all right,
really?
Cool. Like, yeah. So people are kind of like coming back to life. So,
well, we're 5 weeks away, right? September 25th.
Yep, exactly.
Hard to believe that's coming up quick. I am stoked. There hasn't been any leakage of sound yet, though, right? No one's heard anything.
There has been.
There has been. Oh man, I'm not even sure if I want to do that.
Yeah, I was tempted.
Yeah, I am too.
Just because the hype, like,
yeah,
how they did it. They did two things. One was they posted the longitude, latitude coordinates, which was actually a billboard in L.A. that had some cryptic message, but it had the date, and people recognized that it pertained to them. But the other cool thing they did is they changed the visual on Spotify for 4 different songs. And if you took those in order and took the first letter of each of the songs, it spelled out Ohms, OHMS, and that's supposedly the name of the album.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Like it was something, it was, I forget what the O was. H was...
Were they like all over albums?
Yeah. M was Minerva. Jeez, I forget what it was, but it was pretty cool the way they did it.
Well, you said that they did that, and I went and looked, and I couldn't find anything, but I mean, I did it quickly. I was in the middle of something. I was like, I want to know, and then something, bird went by, and I lost my train of thought. But I'm like, yeah, it was cool. I love that cryptic shit. Like, it's always fun when your bands that you're excited about, like, give you a little puzzle, a little, like, breadcrumb to try to figure it out.
Oh, totally.
So that's pretty exciting. I'm definitely, I mean, we're all here for that. As soon as we hear a single, I'm sure we'll listen to it and talk about it here, so.
Yeah, that'll be like content, nonstop for us for Deftones.
We may not talk about anything else from September on.
Because there was no hype for like this for Gore, And for Koi, there was no hype. And I think for them, they almost have to do it given the circumstances because they ain't touring, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what else are we gonna do? Might as well, put some cool stuff on social media and try to get some people excited. And I mean, I'm excited, so.
I'm gonna take that Friday off, I think, and just
Yeah, I know. I love it. You told me
Nice.
that. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. I may do something of that ilk, or I may just not have a job. We'll see.
Well, to your point, Tone, like if I was in marketing for management, I would make it a puzzle too because it just builds the hype.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
Make it fun.
Well, and I mean, there's all these ways you can do that now with social media, and I mean, how many different friggin' platforms are there that you can put something out on? We do it every week. There's a lot. So to do that and give it, if you're fans that are excited about it, and Deftones have a hardcore fan base, will be all about that stuff, and everybody will be trying to figure it out. So we are for sure.
I did see on the Deftones Reddit that I guess the rumor is the label was in touch with the moderators of Deftones, the Deftones Reddit, and was basically telling them to remove the posts that pertain to anything about the album because like people were solving it too quick.
Those people on Reddit, man.
They were, because the admin of the Deftones Reddit was like saying, "Hey, my hands are tied. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, getting a bad reputation with the label and whatnot."
That's crazy. That's the times we're in. I don't know if you saw the headline on Borat. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah.
Right.
No.
So it's like someone like in their car driving in Long Beach, and like they're like he drove by the film crew with Borat or Sacha Cohen like in a car. Yep. Filming a scene for an upcoming Borat movie. It's like shit. Now there's just people are just out and about and have their technology to just capture this stuff. Like,
oh, I gotcha.
And that's pre-copyright, so it's like you can't you can freely put that up on. I think that person uploaded that on TikTok, and it's like shit. That's already a spoiler for the film that hasn't even come out yet.
Well, and I mean, if you had asked me before I saw that today, if we'd ever see Borat again, I'd be like, maybe, but not in a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But now we might see him in something again. So
yeah.
And how anybody doesn't know who Sacha Baron Cohen is at this point blows me away. Like, how do these people still keep getting duped? Man, Borat when it came out, Borat was funny as hell.
Oh, it still is. I'm here for that movie. I think that's an all-time movie.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Very, very enjoyable. He's perfect with that stuff. And it's too bad that people know who he is now because he can't do it the way he did it. But, I mean, he's still duping somebody, which I'll watch that. I'll watch him do that all day.
He's got to come up with another character, Bruno or...
Yeah, right. Just he needs better makeup.
Yeah. Bring back LEG. People might have forgotten.
The LEG show. I never watched LEG, but I had friends that were big into it. But I mean, obviously saw Borat and Bruno and stuff like that. So I remember Borat going on Conan back in the day, and I was like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
Good times. That was a tangent, folks. That's what we do here. If you're new, we love to just run off the rails.
Different kind of nerdery.
Totally. And we can do it with sports too if you listen to last week. So
exactly.
But yeah, Deftones, excited about that. We're all pretty stoked to check that out, sink our teeth into that a little bit, and give you guys our thoughts.
So, question: if the single, I'm trying to make this like a game. If the single's like fire, like let's say the single's like 10 out of 10, can we confirm that both you guys are coming out west for the 2021 road trip?
If we're back, maybe Nate, that's another inching me forward to that for sure.
Yeah.
So the album is 10 songs, I believe. I saw the track list.
Oh,
well,
shit.
I'm not sold. That's the track list.
Oh, you know.
No, because whoever wrote tracking list, and I was like, come on, like, are we writing in English here? What's going on?
Yeah, tracking is still recording. I think you're still recording.
And I mean, it very well could be, and it could be somebody that found something and posted it, but it was one of those Instagram accounts that like you're not quite sure. Maybe they're fake. Maybe they just doing it to get likes or hits or whatever.
The artwork was cool. It was almost like a light bright with like a female's eyes. It looked like.
I could see that being it.
Yeah,
I could totally see that being it. And those names look like Deftones song names, so it's out there if you want to look for it, folks. All right, do we want to hop into that article?
Yeah.
Cool. So I found an article earlier this week on NPR Music by Damon Krakowski, who's also he's also a musician. It was kind of a tale of two worlds: the Spotify world versus the Bandcamp world. Really interesting to kind of see some of the numbers associated with what people make on Spotify and how that is not super viable for a lot of people, and that makes sense, versus Bandcamp kind of being organically grown, not really looking at themselves as a streaming platform, even though they do some of that. It was cool. You guys, what do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, what I got out of it was Spotify is definitely pro-capitalism, like let's make this a go and continue forging forward, whereas Bandcamp is very much a little more grassroots, not too concerned, not as much concerned on, being the mainstream revenue generator in the music industry, but kind of mirroring what we talk about on this podcast quite often, which is, hey, the music's got to come from somewhere, and keeping it, in its current status and cadence, whether it be slow or fast, caters to quality music. So you gotta pay it forward somehow. So that's what Bandcamp that serves that need, which is very much needed, very much so needed. So I don't know, it's polar opposites, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, they're definitely polar opposites.
Surprising thing for me, which stood out, which I knew, but like you don't always think about it because you look at Spotify as this like
I know where you're
giant entity, is they're not profitable.
Right. They've never had an annual profit.
And their market cap is $53 billion, and it reminds me of Nate, plug your ears, Tesla, who just recently turned a profit, and they're worth. I'd have to look at what their market cap is, but they just passed $2,000 a share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it is going to split, but that was interesting, and it basically confirmed what I thought about the companies before I read the article, which is Spotify's all about anything audio. They're not just for the music, they're also for podcasts, and who knows, it could go into audiobooks. You know what I mean? I think you'll see that play. Here's not a hot take, but a prediction. Spotify is going to get into audiobooks.
Ooh,
and they want your audio
prediction.
Attention. That's all it is. It's all about audio attention, where Bandcamp is we are the conduit or the harness to get true musicians and artists' music out there.
And they're cut, right? And to get them, they're cut.
And they get
those, they're getting more money from Bandcamp than they are from anywhere else.
Exactly. And what's cool about Bandcamp is like some of the headlines you've seen over the last few months, and we talked about it in a previous episode, which is they have like, I think it's on Fridays, they'll give all the proceeds that come in to the artist. They will not take their cut, which I think was it 10%?
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
And in reading that, there was a analogy in the article that hit me that made sense. It's like if a band comes to town, they're at a venue, they sell merch there, that venue takes a little money off the top for allowing them to sell it there. I personally didn't know that. You guys probably did, but that was something that I was like, oh, that makes sense to me, but I didn't know it. This is the virtual version of that, Bandcamp.
Yeah, it is.
Totally.
And they waive that on Fridays, and they've been doing that for quite a while now. Pretty awesome on them. And they're the slow burn, right? They've been slowly building for 13 years, and not going ham on trying to get all these things in there to get more people in there. And now we're just like, come here, pay the artists what you want to pay them, or what they ask for, and we'll take a little bit off the top to kind of keep the doors open and maybe make us a couple bucks too, but nothing crazy. And our artists are going to get paid, which is really cool.
Man, I love that comparison to like a digital music venue. That's brilliant.
Yeah. I wish I came up with it. I didn't, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
I wish, man. I wish I was that smart sometimes.
I do have some more speculation on the whole economics of it. Like a Bandcamp artist, there's less mouths to feed because they're likely independent or even your local garage band, which means there's no label, there's no middlemen, it's just the band. But as soon as you start throwing in these, like the Spotify level artists, there's a reason why the band only gets that split. It's because they've signed their soul away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't go to a Bandcamp. They can't put their stuff on Bandcamp because it's the label. They've already signed their soul to the label, and I assume they wouldn't allow that.
So we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Drake going independent. and Taylor Swift and all those big names, right? Post, whatever. I can see this being a type of place that becomes bigger and bigger as more of those big artists say, I don't need any of you guys. I'm just going to put my own stuff out. Here it is. It's on Bandcamp. It's not on Spotify. It's not on Apple Music. It's not on any of those places. Pay me $10 or $8 for it, and you get it digitally, and it lives in that app, and you can stream it from there, but nowhere else. Like, that might be what we see more of going forward. I could see those medium level artists, or even bigger than that, doing that. Not everybody, because some of them are fine with the way things are. But if you want to take some of that middleman out of there and keep some of that cash in your own pocket, if you're someone like Drake, this makes more sense to me. I could see this happening for sure. Or, him launching his own website.
Yeah, no, it's a good call. I mean, if that applied to like all sectors, I think I would subscribe to that, more often than not. Like grocery stores and so forth. Like if I could like give the money directly to the farmer and have that come through some platform similar to Bandcamp, I'd be all about that. In fact, that's a great business idea to someone, because it's like, hey, like I want to support this brand for these, whatever criteria that they meet that I, subscribe to. So if it goes directly to them, they can be sustainable without having to like funnel through Whole Foods or whatever and pay like basically lose margin, So.
Well, in the same, we talk about craft beer here a lot, and
Yeah.
I know, Nate, that's near and dear to what you're doing personally
Totally.
For work. With the boom that we've seen in craft breweries, they have now become destinations. You can get food there, you can get beer there, you can get merch there. You're buying it directly from the brewery. The overhead for them, as far as sending it to a package store or sending it to a bar, and that's the only way you get your hands on it, or a grocery store, that isn't there anymore. Like, a lot of these places are saying everything's here, just come get it from us, or we'll distribute to the places that we are comfortable with, that we like, that we're not going to get marked up on. But otherwise, you're going to see it coming from the source itself. And I think with the way distribution is, obviously things have taken a little hit with COVID, but with the way distribution was before that, and the way distribution is digitally for music and things of that, like, you're going to see more of it this way.
Yeah, for sure. I think a couple things came to mind. One is, I would equate, you're right, Nate, like with Spotify, you're funding the whole supply chain. And that's what happens when you go to the big box stores, or if you go directly to the farm stand, you're not funding the supply chain. You're giving it right to the source. But it also reminds me of on Shark Tank, when a lot of these companies come in and they're strictly direct to consumer online, and their whole vision is, hey, we want to get in every big box store. And the sharks always say, I don't know about that. As soon as you get a wholesaler or distributor, you're taking 50% off the top, your margins. It's almost the same type of thing. It works for some and it won't work for others.
You're right. And the smaller places that are fine, and again, go back to craft beer, the places that are fine living in their region and in that niche, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a tangible, product you're trying to get in the hands of people, that's an issue. But if you're digital, the internet gets things everywhere in seconds now. So what you're doing is good, and that's what it all boils down to. So if the music is good, people are going to come to it, and no matter where it is, right? Like, if people want to hear that new Taylor Swift that dropped on Apple Music 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and she just puts it on Bandcamp and it's $8 or $10, people are going to go buy it. Maybe a few less, but she's going to see more of that money.
No, it's great context. In fact, the way I was thinking about it as you guys were both chatting is the fact that alcohol is a regulated commodity. So you have to go through a distributor, state by state, whatever those laws are, state by state. Same with my industry, well, both alcohol and cannabis, is I don't have a choice. I have to go through a distributor. So therefore I can't go direct to consumer. You could back in the day with like, medical or so forth, but those things have changed. So if I was an artist and didn't have some kind of regulatory body that, dictated me going direct to consumer, there would be no hesitation whatsoever on my end as an artist to just go direct to consumer, especially now. And I think that's the shift that we're seeing, which is really great. I know we name dropped Tesla earlier. It's like, well, Tesla doesn't even go to dealerships. You order your car online, that's brilliant. And yeah, they haven't turned a profit, but similar to Bandcamp, I think they just know the vision is a long play, not a near-term play. And that if the heart's in the right place, that, eventually people are going to realize that, hey, if you really like this artist, guess what? Now you can pay them directly, and now they can put out quality music and feed their kids rather than give 75% of their revenue to their manager
Whoever,
and
right?
record label. Yeah, I mean, there's such, like you said,
Streaming
there's such a
service.
supply chain. It's huge. Yeah.
So what was the label we talked about several weeks ago that was going public?
Oh, damn.
Whoever it was, Warner. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, it was Warner.
Someone-
Yeah, it was
it
Warner.
Warner?
Yep.
There's a reason why they're going public in 2020 and not 15 years ago. It's because they can see the writing on the wall, and they don't want to be the bag holders. They want the shareholders to be the bag holders. They'll get theirs
absolutely
long before this all shakes out, because in 5 years there may not be a need for a label.
Well, yeah, they'll be toast, right? And
Yeah.
not just them. A lot of those big record labels that employed a lot of people for a lot of years, and that's nice, especially if you're into music and that's a thing that you've made a career on. But the internet is going to make those things obsolete. The other thing is cool that Bandcamp does, and you can't do it Spotify or Apple Music, whatever, is you can order a vinyl and it gets sent to you, and
That's
then
right.
the digital thing sits in your Bandcamp if you want to listen to it there. So
Oh, nice.
it's a different, and I think the app is a tad clunky, but I mean, it is what it is. It's a different world from your Spotify or your Apple Music or whatever big streaming service, Walmart type situation, where there's a lot of people to pay. This will be a little bit less than that, and I like the slow growth. Honestly, I mean, how many times have we seen something skyrocket to the moon only to come crashing down because they overextended themselves?
Oh, totally.
I don't want that to happen to anybody, but I could totally see that happening with some of these bigger streaming services that aren't already owned by another big company, say YouTube or Apple, being underneath the Google and Apple flag. That's a little worrisome for somebody like Spotify.
Yeah. Well, to that point, that's bi-directional too, because to Spotify's game plan, which is getting the artist to put as much music in as possible, which is also burnout. It's like, well, shit, if a band's putting out a single every week, now I'm no longer interested in that band because the quality is maybe not as good as it used to be, or it's just there's less anticipation. So we're talking about Deftones. Like if Deftones put out a single every week, I'd be like, oh man, I'm kind of bored now. Like it's just too consistent, and that's a tough thing to say because we all love Deftones.
I do think you were talking, Tony, about Bandcamp selling the physical product. That's going to be the next play for Spotify too. They're going to want to get their greedy hands in, and it's going to be like the whole analogy of getting your product in Walmart. Like it will get eyeballs, but you're going to see 50 cents on the dollar. You're going to see 25 cents on the dollar. Yep. So it's one of those things of like, will you sell enough to make up for the small margins? And again, it's going to work for some and not for others.
Right. The other thing that kind of threw me and I thought was a little crazy, and it was they explained the math, but did you see how many streams a month you needed to have to make $15 an hour, which is essentially minimum wage in a lot of places?
Yeah. And that was for solo artists.
657,000 streams plus a month to make $15 an hour. Now that's just that. You're not talking merch, you're not talking the other stuff that goes along with it. But right now, where there's no touring, you're relying on streams and people buying merch or physical product. And the supply chain is a little backed up with USPS having some issues, not wanting to get too political here. But throw that into the mix. You order something a month ago and you still haven't seen it. It's like, oh man, like, am I going to do that again? Like it puts a bad taste in your mouth when you've been seeing stuff for 2 days in 2 days for a long time. So it's crazy to me that that's how many streams you need to make $15 an hour. And that's, like you said, Tuan, if that's just a solo artist.
Slipknot.
So now talk about if it's four or five or nine people in the band. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason why it pays to have a legacy and piggyback on the old school, record label business model previous coming into this. I feel like even Taylor Swift, she obviously utilized that infrastructure up until now and is able to kind of jump off it and go into the current times. But if it wasn't for that, I don't know. It'd be hard to say. I feel like there's some people that got the sweet spot. They got the best of both. But coming into the world now, you still have to be discovered somehow.
That reminds me of Jason Newsted of Metallica fame.
Yeah.
He was interviewed recently, and they asked the interviewer, which I love questions like this, just cut to the chase. They asked him, could you survive right now on just your royalties from the Metallica back catalog? And in so few words, he said yes, because like the Black Album still sells like 5,000 to 6,000 copies a week.
That's insane.
And that's like with legacy terms. I wonder how that would equate in now. Like, would it be? It'd be much less, right? With the Spotify model.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're
It'd be much
getting
less.
to what you were talking about, Nate. Where like
Yeah.
the game has changed completely.
Yeah, there's a total sweet spot. As we were talking about, I think last week with Tate, it's like we were lucky because we got the best of both. Like, you know, we're like new school, but we're old school. You know, we like Led Zeppelin, but we also like Finch. You know what I mean? And both those bands are kind of like piggybacking on two different sides of the spectrum in terms of record industry and how that the whole machine works. But I mean, even Finch. I just said Finch. Like Finch, like if they didn't come out in 2002, they wouldn't have that like little bit of music industry infrastructure to like
Right.
essentially tour off of, you know, that success, you know, and to be discovered otherwise is, I don't know.
They were part of that screamo emo bubble, right? Back in the early 2000s. And I mean, I fucking love that the first album.
Where it is to burn.
Yeah. Oh my God. I still to this day love that album.
Great album.
But yeah, we may not have seen them if they came out 9 years later or 10 years later, right?
Yeah. How do you find it?
5 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Tangent. Finch.
This is a good segment. That was a good.
Yeah, that could
Good
have been
discussion.
a full-on segment. That was a cool article. I'm glad that we kind of stumbled upon that because we were looking for stuff for the set list all week. I'm like, oh man, it's like kind of quiet, kind of a quiet week. Oh man, this article's awesome. All right, we got something.
It's right up our alley. Sweet.
Oh, it's perfect. It hit all of our things. And actually, there's some behind-the-scenes stuff that we were excited about with this too. So you never know where you're gonna see us next.
So many feels.
Well, do we want to get into the segment?
Yeah.
We've got a hot take.
I almost said bring your own hot topic. Bring your own hot take.
You can bring your own hot topic too if you want. I mean, sure, we all have a T-shirt from there somewhere.
I have many.
Plenty of those. Actually,
shit.
back in the mid 2000s, Hot Topic was a great place to get discounted vinyl.
It was.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, you could get records, picture discs, $3.99. I remember getting AFI,
That's
the
insane.
used.
And that stuff's worth so much money now too. Those picture discs, like you said, I got them for like $4, and I see them on eBay for like $170. I'm like,
I have
damn.
Manson's Antichrist Superstar from there. I think I paid $30. It's like $300 on Discogs.
Wow.
From
nice.
the Hot Topic edition of that. And I was like, $30? Yeah, I like this album anyway. I haven't opened it thankfully because it's worth almost $300.
Sweet.
I bought Deftones.
I'm not telling anybody where I live.
Deftones self-titled from there when it came out, and I sold it on eBay like 8-9 years ago, which I regret.
That's
Ooh.
vinyl selling regret. That'll be
Yeah, I
a
was gonna say,
segment.
that
That'll
is
be a
another
Twan only segment here in the very near future. It's all right, bro. We got you back into it.
I'm not rebuying those though. No way.
Not yet. Maybe you'll find one down the road. Who knows?
Yeah.
Once we go huge and people are like, "Hey, take my vinyl."
So this was
All
a
right, so-
tangent into introducing the segment.
I know, right? I was just thinking the same thing. Who wants to lead off with their first hot take?
I'll go.
All right.
Nice.
This one, so a little backstory. I actually posted this on Facebook like 10 years ago, and it recently came up as a memory. You know how they do that?
Can I just for half a second? Twan was notorious for hot takes on Facebook like eight to 10 years ago. There was one every other day, and they were always fun.
And most of it was trolling.
I was gonna say, no wonder he came up with this segment because I couldn't come up with anything, and it's just like, shit, dude, you guys are like stacking them.
Well,
We get a few. So this is one that actually came up in my memories on Facebook, and I was like, you know what? I think I still agree with it. And the hot take is the song I'm going to say in a second is I think is the pound for pound best song of all time. And it may not be a hot take because it is widely accepted as being a brilliant, timeless song. And that song is Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it is the best song of all time. You cannot change my mind. Hot takes only.
no, I wasn't sure what you were gonna say, and now that you say it, I think to myself, that probably is the best song of all time.
So it's actually not a hot take.
But I mean, It is though, because music is so subjective, right? Like not everybody likes Queen, but that everybody knows that song is so ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it is. Everybody's heard it in some form or fashion, if not the whole thing. Everybody's seen Wayne's World where
I
they
was
do it
gonna
in the
say
car.
that is
Oh,
you
yeah.
throw
Like-
that in,
Yep.
and that just elevated it because it brought fresh energy. Because when did Wayne's World come out? Early 90s?
91, 92, yes, early to mid 90s. Yep.
So it gave fresh lungs to it for actually our generation, probably.
Totally. Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, everyone knows it. Everyone sings it. It's really just an epic song. I don't know even.
Well,
The
it hits
lyrics are
every note,
bizarre.
too. Oh, totally. I don't have any fucking clue what it's about, but that's what's awesome. Like it starts off kind of slow. It has this fucking huge crescendo in the middle, and then it ends slow. Like it gives you every little thing you'd want in a song.
Yeah. Yeah. For music appreciation, like it's got the rock element. Like anyone that's into rock or metal, some won't admit it, but it's like
Yep.
they know there's a foundation to that music, and it's like Beethoven and like the real fundamentals of music. So you have like this like almost like closet appreciation for like classical music. And that's why we love like for instance like Metallica does the S&M, right, symphony
That was
and
cool,
Metallica,
yeah.
because it's like a hybrid of like metal and symphony. And I've actually personally always liked classical music personally, but it's like that highlights it. And Queen, you were ahead of your time, Twan, because now obviously everyone loves Queen after the movie that came out, which is a fantastic film.
Which I haven't seen. I got to see it.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
it either, but I've heard it's
You haven't
great.
seen it? Oh God, great.
Also named Bohemian Rhapsody, is it not?
Exactly, and it's a great movie. Really well done. I thought it was well done.
I love
yeah,
Rami
I mean-
Malek. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. But ever since that movie came out, like their record sales spiked, and like there's a whole new like fan base that came into the picture that didn't even know, like especially the younger generation that were like, oh, I didn't even know like this band at all. So yeah, you're a little bit ahead of the times there, Twan. But I think I do agree. I think I have to sit on this, but I think I do agree because it just encapsulates all those different genres in such a masterful way. So yeah, I can't contest it because I just can't come up with a better song.
I have a hot take off of this hot take.
Oh shit.
Does anybody have a guess of what my hot take is? You guys have to know. Freddie Mercury is the best frontman of all time.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow.
I know, hard, because there's a lot of really good frontmen. I mean, you could say Mick Jagger, right? You could say Robert Plant. If you're looking at iconic frontmen, you could say Bruce Springsteen. Like there are great frontmen and women for that matter.
Yep.
But who doesn't? Mick started it with some of the flamboyant and the dancing around. Robert
Just a
Plant. Those two
showman.
guys did
Total
a ton
showman.
of it, right? But Freddie perfected it.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Shoot.
Well,
I'm not sure it's the truth, but I think it might be. For me, I think it might be.
what I was gonna say, before you mentioned that, getting back to the song, and I'll tie it back to Freddie, was I get back to like the whole like barriers to entry kind of concept where it's like I can't think of a single other band that could pull off Bohemian Rhapsody. And then to piggyback on what you just said, I can't think of like who's our equivalent. Adam Levine, like it's not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
It's just it can't be replicated. I guess that was my comment, not barriers to entry, but
You're right. There's no replication of that song. Nobody is coming out with Bohemian Rhapsody today. And how you even come out with that to begin with is incredible. Like that started as nothing and turned into that. Like insanity. I'm with you. I think it's the best song of all time.
you heard it here first.
I want to agree. I think I do agree. By the way, Wayne's World came out in 92.
92. Nice. I was almost on. I said 91,
Yeah.
92, right? Yeah.
Still Wikipedia as we're on the air here. Yeah, Twan, I think I agree. Fuck, man. You like, got me. You both got me. It's like I'm trying to disagree
That's a
because I
great-
want to have a little diversity here.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it depends on the mood. Like there are days that I would probably not want to listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, but just getting back to a music appreciation piece, it hits all the notes, man. It really
Oh my
does.
God, it's so good. Well, you can't help but just listen. Once it's playing, you're like, well, you're not going to skip it.
No, God,
Right?
no.
Right.
You're like, all right. You like get in the zone. And like you said, I think the Wayne's World thing really gave it that much context.
Mhm.
You're like,
It
oh, it's no longer like you were like part of that era. Now it's like, oh, Wayne's World made it that cool because now it's cool to like this song.
So when did it come out? 80, 78.
70s probably.
Yeah, you look it
Yeah,
up.
I'm looking it up because I mean, at that point, it would have been only like 12 to 15 years old, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which still kind of gives it like a throwback.
75. So it was almost,
Oh,
18
shit.
years, 17, 18 years old at that point. So it was
Oh,
kind of
wow.
probably like, okay, it's part of the lexicon. People know it. But then you're right. It kind of, the Wayne's World gave it a little push for our generation because we were 6, 7, 8 years old when Wayne's World was big. So
Yep.
yeah, totally. And I mean, who hasn't been in a car, had the song on and fucking headbanged? Like we all do it.
That's a great point, Nate. Where like that movie, it was no longer a Beethoven-esque song. It was you could equate it with a metal song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With the finish, it was just put it to another level.
That's great. That's a great call. That's a good hot take. I like that.
Oh, fuck.
And
All
I don't
right,
even
cool.
think it's a
I
hot
agree.
take anymore. Like I think that's it. It's not debatable.
Yeah.
It's lukewarm.
Tepid. Yeah.
So who's up?
Man, that was good.
I got one. I got
Nice.
one.
Sweet.
Pizza Hut is garbage. No, I'm just kidding. The first Creed album is actually really good.
Is that My Own
It's
Prison?
a hot take.
Or
It's a hot,
Human
it's a hot
Clay, or-
take. No, My Own Prison. Human Clay is garbage.
I'm gonna
There's a song or two on Human Clay I really like. What If, I think.
What
But
if
yeah,
I-
yeah, What If is cool. And then Bullets is awesome on Weathered. There's some pretty good rockers in Creed's catalog even after they became,
Totally.
a joke of themselves. But My Own Prison, good album. Listen to it today. I dare you to go back and listen to it. It's 4 or 5 really good songs, and I think for the most part it flows well and isn't a bad record.
What was the single, or what are the most known
A
songs?
couple of them. One and My Own Prison were both big.
One.
One's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a great
I-
rock song. Don't worry, it'll be on the playlist. You can listen to it this weekend.
I'm trying to think of my, I guess, experience with this album. Like I remember, I can picture the cover, and I've obviously heard those 2 songs. If those are the big songs, I've heard those 2 songs, but I haven't heard anything else. I can't really comment on it because, like,
What's This Life For was also big.
okay, because the connotation with Creed is not very positive, so it's tough to get that taste out of your mouth. And
Nate, you can laugh into the mic, bro. It's fine.
I know. It's just it's
This is a hot take. This is a hot take zone. All right. I like that album. I ride for that album. I'm fine with it.
I got to revisit it because, like, now that you've said you ride for it, I'm like, all right, maybe there's some semblance of good music in
There is, and it's before they become douchey Scott Stapp, being Jesus in a fucking video. It's before all that. He also, I think he did the Marlins theme song.
Oh, that's right, Marlins Rise or something.
It's Marlins Will Soar. If our buddy Andrew in Florida is still listening, he will love that I brought this up.
Well, Tone, you're gonna appreciate this because, I mean, we text this stuff all the time where it's like, well, I actually do agree with you. It's like nerd side comment stuff. It's like, I loved that album. I still do, and I still do. So I agree with you wholeheartedly because part of my music beginnings in this like era of music was Creed, and I loved that album. And I used to play Creed, My Own Prison, and Pearl Jam, and I'd play it in my stereo in my bedroom, and I'd blast it. And my mom would come in and be like, hey, do you mind turning it down? I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, by the way, do you think this is Pearl Jam or do you think this is Creed? And it would be like this continuous like test. She's like, Creed. I'm like, nope, Pearl Jam. And I play another song. Boom. Oh, that's Creed. Nope, Pearl. Like vice versa.
I love that
whatever.
you quizzed your mom that when she did.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
well, I
awesome.
mean, the controversy came out later that Scott Stapp like ripped off
Oh, it's a total rip.
Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, it's a total rip off. I mean, that's. But I think there is some merit to this first album as well.
Oh, totally. No, it's a great album, and I saw them tour off. I don't think it was this album. I think it was the second album. It was one of my first concerts at the Civic Center, at Cumberland County Civic Center in Portland, Maine.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Tantric opened or Three
Yeah.
Doors Down opened. It was one of my first shows, and it was a great show. And I actually obviously saw that in Woodstock '99 too. But it was a great show, and I remember, and I loved the album, and I still do. Yeah, What If, One, all these songs. I
What
didn't
If
know
is
there was.
What If is Human Clay, second one, which has
okay.
not as good. And I mean, Bullets.
With Arms
You've heard
Wide
Bullets,
Open.
right?
Yeah,
that song is whatever. Bullets is an awesome song. I don't care what anybody says. That's off Weathered, which was 01, which is their third album, I think, third or fourth.
Yeah, this one came out in 97. And
I know. Yeah, old.
6 times
Oh,
platinum.
okay. Middle school. Shit.
It was the one that kind of put him on the map.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna revisit this album, but yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I do agree because I loved the album and I still do. Anything that came out in the 90s, I like.
Yeah, and I mean it's a kind of a grunge ripoff for sure. I could see it being an Eddie Vedder sound, but I mean I liked it. Then I liked it today when I listened to it 23 years later after it came out. So, Juan, give it a spin, bro.
I was gonna say, can I do a hot take off the hot take?
Yes, that's the point.
You ready for this? Creed's Weathered has the worst CD cover of all time.
It's pretty bad. You're right.
It is. Wow.
That's awesome.
It's pretty
I'm
bad.
so happy you said that because I remember buying it. I remember buying it at Best Buy or Lechmere, whatever it was at the time, and thinking like, did I get like a shitty like copy of this because it looks all pixelated, like it looks like
it's fucked up. Oh man, this went through the wash already.
It looks like a freshman in college's like Photoshop class like final where they just figured out layering and filters and
they're a huge band at this point.
It's terrible.
Like
I almost didn't want to buy it.
But you did anyway because Bullets is badass.
And then they put out a greatest hits 3 albums in.
I love when bands do that. They're like, hey, yeah, we have like 10 songs that were big, kind of. Here's our greatest hits.
Well, that's the cool thing about Audioslave and nerdery is we know that greatest hits aren't necessarily a decision on the band's part. It's really just to fulfill a recording contract. Yep. So they were just like,
get you out so you can do your own thing.
Yeah, let's get out of this so we can join Bandcamp.
Wow, Twan, I'm looking at Weathered's
oh my god, it's so bad.
I feel like I made that in 10th grade fucking video production bullshit.
It's exactly. I mean, and Stapp's face is like classic Stapp. He's got the hair. You wouldn't even recognize him now, though. Have you seen him now in 2020?
Cut his hair. It's short, right?
You wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't even know it's him. I think he lost weight.
Yeah, he did have a great voice. It's total ham, but it worked. They were huge, man. They were at the turn of the century. They were a massive band.
Creed was huge. Yeah.
And you're right. With My Own Prison, it was almost like a different band. It wasn't. Yeah. They did not have the connotation they have now.
Exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this album's heavier than I probably remember.
It is.
I think it's really heavy. Yeah.
They have a great guitarist. Great guitarist, Mark Tremonti.
Yeah. Yep.
Also of Alter Bridge. Yep.
Yeah. So peep some Creed, guys. I mean, this is what you come to Audioslave for. Is we're just gonna give you hot takes, and we're not gonna be apologetic about it.
Yeah, love or hate. Creed's first album was fire.
Thank you. That's exactly the first
Co-sign.
Creed album. The first Creed album is fire. Is what I have written down right here.
I was in 7th grade with a Discman. Yep. I had 7 albums total, but I thought this album was fire.
And you know what? That's good context to have. Because, like,
that's true.
If this came out now, and we've said this a million times on this podcast, if this came out now, you may or may not vibe with it. But in the time, and even after, shortly after, but once your palate gets a little different and you've heard some shit, but even it still holds up.
At 36, I still liked it. So. Yeah. I mean, am I going to listen to it again next week? Probably not, but I may come back to it again now that I know. Yeah, no, still holds up. Because when I was coming up with hot takes, I was like, you know what? I liked that album a lot. I wonder if I still do. And played it and said, yep, there's my first hot take. I still like this album.
That's awesome. Creed.
All right, Nate. What you got?
Oh, man, that was so good. It's got so many flashbacks.
Pontificating with Nate.
Yeah, I'm dragging this out as usual.
Don't drag it out. Just give it to us, man. We got plenty to talk about.
Okay. So this one, I hinted towards pre-show, which actually goes in tandem to what you're talking about because it's the same era. And I remember where I was at when it happened. I'm so happy we grew up when we did because it's like so like analog. It's just like nice. If it wasn't then, like I would be who I am today. Is a song that equals a life moment. And you remember somehow like it's random and there's no importance. There's no like significance about this song or time at all, but it just like sticks with you. Like you just always have it in your head and you're like, oh shit, if the song comes on or whatever, or you just jog your memory on like back in the day, and it's just like keeps repeating like clockwork. So It's a song that equals a life moment. So a song that reminds you of a time and place, and you remember it all. So for me, it was ninth grade, so freshman year of high school, so 1999, right?
Yep, 99, 2000.
Yep, and I was in study hall in high school, and Brandon, we were like, I mean, it was all CDs then, so we're all shuffling CDs in study hall. Like, hey, check this out. All right, check this out, which is cool because it's like almost like pre-Napster. Like, hey,
Brandon A or Brandon P?
Brandon P.
Okay.
Yeah, big hip hop head. And actually, thankfully for him, I got into hip hop partly because of him. So he handed me a Source Awards like mixtape CD, and I was like, all right, I'll check this out. Boom, put it in my Discman in study hall, playing the music, and Beat Nuts, Watch Out Now.
Oh,
came
yes.
on.
What
And
about
I played
Work
the
That
song
Pole?
That may also have been on there.
I played that song like 18 times in a row, and I remember exactly where I was. It was like study hall, ninth grade, like, you know, just like super innocent, like just like trying to figure out life. It remains every time I hear that song, I just like almost go to like this like time travel mode where I know exactly where I am. I know the color of the wall, the smell of the air, the people I was around, joking around with Brandon, you know, checking out the girls, you know, laughing at the teacher. It's like this really cool memory. So
Nice.
yeah, so I wanted to bring that up because it was just like, you know, I don't know, like it's the most random song. It's the most random time, 1999, before the turn of the century, and it's just like, whatever. And that song never comes on, but I purposely bring it on just to kind of like go back into that moment for time travel. So if you guys have any of those,
Oh, yeah.
or if you have any memory of that song, which
Beat Nuts feels like freshman year of high school,
yeah,
for sure.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's such a great beat. And that song was just fucking awesome. Like,
Oh man,
yeah,
flute and a hip hop song, hell yeah.
I know, yeah, I love that shit.
So is the take that's like the song that you can put the best visual together for, or
it's the first one that comes to mind. I don't know why. Out of all
like when you
music,
think of Time and a Place, like that song and that by Beat Nuts comes out.
If I was going to put it in the same context for study hall, it'd be between that and Sugar by System of a Down, which is polar opposite. Yeah.
Oh man, I got a good System of a Down one. Now that you say that, I've got all these ones flooding back to me. Okay, Twan, you got one, or you want me to go? Because I have a great song for this for me.
Oh, for Nate's?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more of a collaboration.
Yeah, you go.
You think about it. I got one. I got a couple lined up. Rehab, It Don't Matter.
Oh,
remember that song?
Yeah.
Every time I think about or hear that song, nice. I am at the intersection where Holy Cross is on Broadway and Ocean, going up the hill, and I'm in my mom's Plymouth Sundance because it was on the radio at that time, and I had just gotten my license, and it was April, and I'd rolled the windows down. It was like 60 degrees out, one of those kind of early spring days in Maine where you're like, oh, it might actually get nice here again someday, and because it's fucking cold all the time, and I'm just listening to It Don't Matter, and and it's such a happy-ish sounding song, but if you listen to the lyrics, they're not very happy.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a hit. It was a huge hit on alternative radio in Maine and everywhere. And that's every time I hear it, I am at that intersection in my mom's Plymouth Sundance before I crashed it up at Papagino's.
Wow. Looking at Crazy Cocaine Jesus.
Yeah. That was such a weird. You're right.
Yeah.
Talk about a tangent. Funny. That was a weird mural on Holy Cross School.
Anyone that lives in South Portland, Maine, knows what I'm talking about. Crazy Cocaine Jesus.
The 4 people listening from SP. No.
They just cut the tree that was in front of it, so it's exposed now.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's a weird. Yeah. It's a weird mural. It's very well done. It's a weird mural. I might be able to find a picture and throw it on Twitter.
From that mural.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's weird.
For me, brings back vivid memories. So I would say probably a collection of songs that I had on a literal mixtape, like a cassette tape that I had a cassette player in my mom's minivan. This was in summer 2005. Had a mixtape with Blood for Blood's Living in Exile. It was all over the place. It had Foo Fighters' Everlong. It had Ben Folds 5 Brick. And anytime those songs come on, I think of actually, Nate, driving home from your apartment in Portland when
Grant Street.
Grant Street, yeah.
Oh wow.
It was that era, and I had a minivan for the summer with a tape, and I put I don't know when I made that mixtape, but I can't remember who else. I probably still have it, knowing me. But
Please find it.
Yeah, it's got some bangers on it. It's all over the place.
So this is post the Hog, which was your car before that.
Exactly. Yeah, this was just a borrowing a car during the summer. But I remember that whenever I hear any song off that, I think of that, kind of late night drive back to my parents at the time when I was still living there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's the coolest thing about music, is the time and place. Well, we talk about it quite often. Is the time and place of music, because no matter what, like, exactly where you were. It's almost like a September 11th moment. You're like, if there was a song that sticks out,
much happier.
No.
Yeah, much happier. Well, depending on the moment, yeah.
That's true. I guess it could be breakup or something like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah. I hear what you're saying. You know where you were.
Yeah, you know where you were, exactly. But it's cool. It's another like bonus of music, is you kind of can time travel a little bit.
I have a few more, and I think we save them. I think this is a segment.
Yeah, we save them.
Oh, that's a great segment.
I have all these memories that have just come flooding back. You mentioning Nate's apartment, Grant Street, just all kinds of stuff. The Hog. I have memories. Oh man, the first couple of times it was in my own car with a brand new CD player put in. Yeah, I got some stuff. So let's save this for down the road.
It is crazy though how you can, like you said, even the smell, like you can be transported back, and all it takes is that audio catalyst. You know what I mean? Like that, just you hear it and you're transported back. Who's up? Me? So this one, you guys are going to be surprised by this, and maybe anyone who listens to us, given our name, the name of the podcast. Audioslave is highly overrated. Highly.
Ooh, damn! I'm gonna take a drink.
And I'm gonna dig my heels in even further. Without the brand names, i.e., Rage and Soundgarden. I mean, I'm not going to say these guys don't get signed. Like, that's the hottest take in the world.
Yeah, that does. That happens still. Sorry.
Yeah, that's like burn your face off hot take. But I don't know. I like the first album. Beyond that, I don't know. I never got into them.
So, I don't like the second or third albums either.
Okay, so you're kind of Nate's like, you guys have fooled me this whole time.
I absolutely love the first album. There's no touching that album. Oh my god! But they would have been fine doing a one-off and being. The other songs on the other ones I like, but doing just a one-off or maybe two and condensing those second two into the hits would have been cool. But yeah, the first album is so damn good, and it would have been cool if that's what we got and we didn't get another thing from them. I would have been fine with it.
I'm gonna just say one more thing, Nate, and then you chime in. But I'm gonna qualify it by saying Rage is a top 3 all-time band for me, given every ingredient that makes up someone's favorite band. So coming from that to this, again, they hit a triple to a home run with the first at bat. After that, they struck out.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm like heartbroken a little bit.
Ah, shit. Everything you know is a lie.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. I mean, it's like, I'm a grunge fan, right? So I love Cornell. Or I'm gonna take it back. I'm a 90s fan. So Rage, it's like everything I do is gold. Every member. And every member of Soundgarden's gold. So yeah, the first album is pretty immaculate. I actually really got into the second album too. And the third album. But I just love Cornell so much that I was like, oh man, he really gives so much amazing content or layering to like any kind of music landscape, that it's, you could have like a shitty band and still come up with some pretty crazy and cool, intricate music. But I got into the second album pretty heavy. Third album actually did trail off a little bit. There's still some good stuff there. Yeah, man, that's a deep.
Is that a dagger to your heart, man?
So
a little bit, because I, similar to Creed, like I definitely hold up for the band quite a bit. Yeah, if you haven't given it the time of day, I totally know where you're coming from. It's definitely a stretch. And to be honest, like I think we had talked about this prior, which is I didn't give the time of day to Audioslave at all for the longest time because I was so anti Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine coming together for one band to make some kind of like supergroup. I just felt like it was so like, I don't know, label pressure or.
Well, and you'd rather have the other two bands versus the
you'd
one.
rather.
Totally. No, 100%. Yeah, so it just didn't seem like this is not a good route. You know, it's almost like give it time and things will come back together rather than try to force something. But that first album's so friggin' good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, full disclosure, haven't listened to the second and third album in quite some time because I always come back to the first one if I want to listen to Audioslave. So I will need to revisit because I do love Rage and I do love Cornell and I love Soundgarden. So there's probably something in there for me that I just didn't give it enough time where I have given the first album, all of my time as far as Audioslave goes over the years. So I'm in Twan's camp, but I could totally see myself switching. I guess. Flip-flop.
One thing, I'm just on Audioslave's wiki. Rick Rubin produced those albums.
All three of them?
The first two.
First two, yeah.
Yeah. He's not a producer.
Well,
he's a
both of you
reducer. I heard him say that the other day on a podcast. He's not a producer. He's a reducer, which makes sense as to why Corey Taylor didn't really vibe with him. Give us some direction or just sit there with no shoes, bro. Sorry.
Rick,
I like
we want to
Rick.
have you on.
Yeah,
Earmuffs,
no, I would
Rick.
talk to Rick. Dude, no, I would love to talk to Rick. I want to hear all of his stories. He's got a great voice. Like, he is seen some shit musically, but he's a reducer.
Well, I recommend both of you guys checking out the back catalog on those last two.
I can do that.
They're all great. Because Cornell's like, anything from Cornell alone is epic. So to have Rage as a backing band is pretty great. But yeah, to be honest, like the second album I think is really, really good. But a lot of the like music appreciation definitely comes down to like where you were at. So like that second album, I was like super into Soundgarden. So it was like nice. I was like on a Chris Cornell high already. Yep. So like to dig into Audioslave and like check out this new stuff at the time, I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, to kind of give you some credit, it's like, do I revisit those last two albums as much as the first? Well, to your point, Tone, not really. Right. Not as much, at least. Yeah. Yep. But they're great.
Hot take off the hot take, Nate. Mm-hmm. Scream is Cornell's best body of work.
No, wow.
No, just kidding.
Disagree.
That's a scalding hot take. No,
Twan, I don't think we can do this pod together anymore.
Yeah,
canceled.
That's definitely a segment.
I'm canceling us right now.
That's definitely a record pressure segment.
Yeah,
put out an album that'll go platinum, or we'll drop you kind of segment.
All right, am I up?
Yeah.
All right, I've got a couple here, but two that I've narrowed it down to, and I'm going to ask you guys if you'd rather the hip hop one or the rock one.
Rock.
Hey, rock.
Yeah, rock.
Weezer only put out one great album.
Ooh.
So I almost thought, well, I shouldn't say almost thought, because my next one was going to be Weezer, but a different take, but I almost went down that lane.
Okay.
Nate, you react.
I disagree.
I love it. Disagree with me.
First reaction. Because Blue Album's amazing.
Yep, and that's the one great album.
Ooh, damn. You have not given Pinkerton the time of
day. I listened to Pinkerton today, Nate. There are two really good songs. That's it.
What?
Isn't there a really creepy song on Pinkerton?
There's a couple not great songs on Pinkerton.
Yeah, there's some...
and there is, I understand what they were trying to do there. There was a little bit of a backlash from the Blue album stuff. El Scorcho and Good Life are probably two of the top 5 Weezer songs, but the rest of the album's not that. Yeah, the rest of the album's not that good. Sorry, it isn't.
Oh man, we're not friends.
What about Hurley?
No. Here's the problem. Weezer has put out great music in fits and starts since the Blue album, right? The Blue album is fucking front to back. It's unassailable. It's an amazing debut. It is an awesome, awesome, awesome record. I grew up with that thing. I fucking will ride for that to the
totally.
day.
Yeah, it's Beatles 2.0.
Pinkerton, two really, really, really good Weezer songs, a couple so-so Weezer songs, and a couple terrible songs. The Green Album, 2 or 3 really good songs, a couple of garbage songs, and a couple of there's always some filler in there, and it's like, guys, hone it, just hone it and put it together the way you did for the first one. And they have continually put out great songs that I love for the entirety of their career, but it's just so sporadic for me that the only really great album they've ever put out for me is the Blue Album.
Man, I'm like a hybrid of like agreeing with you and like disagreeing with you, where like I don't even want to like talk to you anymore.
Well, no, okay, so we went to see them, Nate, at Hampton Beach, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever it was before you moved.
Yeah.
And that set was complete front to back banger songs. There was no there was no break because they have the catalog.
They do have the catalog. Yep.
It's just 2 or 3 songs an album from the first album.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at them, man. I mean, you might like Pinkerton more than me, and a lot of people do. People love Pinkerton, but I have never understood it outside of those 2 songs.
So I'm on their wiki, and I'm amazed by the volume of records. And it's pretty normal cadence, right? Every 2 to 3 years. Some of them was back-to-back years. Like, you're not putting out a good album if it's back-to-back years.
Unless you're Pearl Jam, who did it in the mid-'90s, but yeah.
Well, there's an obvious take, apparently.
Right, yeah, right. But you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, he just cheered me up.
That was for Nate. Yeah, that was red meat for Nate.
So, Nate, I got to ask you, you know, in the spirit of Tone's hot take here, what album is great besides Blue? Pinkerton? Would you call Pinkerton great?
I would, yeah.
I got to revisit it.
A lot of people would, and I think I'm in the minority as far as Weezer's fans go there. Like that's just, for me, it's never hit. I do absolutely love El Scorcho, and I absolutely love The Good Life. Those songs are fucking great Weezer songs.
Oh, Good Life is so good.
Don't really like the rest of it. Like, I just don't.
What's a worse album cover? Weezer's Ratitude or Creed's Weathered? With the dog?
Creed's Weathered because they tried.
Right. They tried. Great point.
Good point. Yeah, Ratitude was definitely
Ratitude's a joke. Hurley's a joke.
Oh, that's right. Hurley, too.
Ratitude has some good songs on it. Not gonna lie. Is that the one that I'm wondering if you want me to? Is that on there?
Yeah,
that song's fucking.
It is.
That's a killer Weezer song.
Yeah,
they know how to do it. They just don't do it for a full album.
Man, that must be so hard as a band, because they don't know. It's all like we were talking about earlier. It's all subjective. Like if they put it like a collection of like all their best songs from like Blue Album to like present, they could have another Blue Album. So I actually do agree with you on that. So that's where I'm kind of like butthurt, or like agree with you, but like butthurt on Pinkerton.
I want to say Make Believe is, for me, as close as they come.
Oh, Make Believe's great.
In 05, Make Believe. I think Make Believe is
Beverly
very
Hills,
good.
We're All on Drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect Situation's a great. It's a great song.
Situation.
Yeah.
Oh man, that song is amazing.
I mean, that's kind of Weezer, probably like Green Album Weezer, but a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
For me.
Yep.
And again, there's a couple misses on that album too. So it's like, and I'm holding them to a high standard. You can't put out Blue Album and then be like, and then continue to put out really good songs, but just not kind of, they just don't hone it.
Yeah.
For me, it pains me because I do love that band.
I know.
This isn't a knock on the band. I fucking love the band. I've listened to the band off and on forever.
That's why we made this podcast. Everything's a great assessment at the end of the day. It's like, I'm not going to like not be friends with you now. Like, well, I am.
Well, and Rivers was a dick to Rob, so I'm just sticking up for Rob. Oh boy, back it up at 17.
Yeah, you're using that as like bait. I mean, the way I look at Pinkerton as a fan is a concept album. I mean, Rivers was like in a really weird space. Well, this is like the nerdery aspect. Rivers was like in a dark space. He was living in a bedroom with like all like blacked out windows. Was apparently doing heroin, which I don't, encourage at all, obviously. So like the album
That's
is
a hot
like
take right there. Don't do heroin.
That's a hot take. So conducive to like some kind of weird arrangements. But I love that album. So I'm a little butthurt, but trust me, that's why we made this podcast. We can like agree to disagree. So.
Yep.
So is it safe to say they've benefited from their longevity, or it's been a disservice?
Ooh.
Benefited. they're still in the conversation. They still, I mean, they covered Toto a couple years ago, and people are still talking. I mean, that was big when they covered Toto.
Yeah,
that's right.
I was gonna say, what's the opposite? Like they dissipate and they come back and just play Blue Album front to back all the time.
Yeah,
it's like shit.
You're right.
It's such a balance. It's like we're so lucky, like we can just talk about it. We're not actually in a band, because it's like, fuck man, I wouldn't know how to like balance it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, again, every album they've put out, I've found something on it or more than one thing on it that I've liked. But I just think they've never come close to the heights of a full cohesive album since the Blue Album. So,
Yeah.
Hot Take City. This is what we're doing right now. You got one more, Nate?
I do. I have one more.
Last one tonight. Last one.
Last one. All right. Hip hop, rap. We all love it.
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Some of the best music ever. It's like undeniably roots. But sometimes you realize music has to foster whatever emotion you're in, or wants to help you revisit that emotion for whatever reason. Like you're on a run, or you're lifting weights, you're like, oh man, I really need this.
Well, that was our heavy therapy, right?
That is heavy therapy in its full transparency. Yeah, for sure. So hot take number 2. I had a hard time with this one, so I just kind of threw this out there. Is best pissed rapper of all time.
Oh.
And I know like everyone's minds jogging, listeners included. Not Eminem.
I was thinking Eminem.
I mean, he's the obvious.
I like it. Yeah.
Not
yeah.
Eminem. No.
Who is it?
DMX.
Marshall Mathers. He's definitely pissed. In fact, we can all relate with Eminem to a certain extent.
Some extent, yeah.
Nope, it's DMX.
That's what I just said.
Prove me wrong.
Oh. Shit. Yeah, it might be DMX.
It might just be his
delivery.
His delivery is so good.
Yeah.
How about Bone Crusher?
Like, oh, fucking right. I'm pissed with you.
I don't even know who
yeah.
Bone Crusher is.
He is the I ain't never scared. I told those motherfuckers it was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. I mean, he might have been angry for other stuff. I just don't know it. It's definitely not Lil Wayne.
No.
Yeah, no.
No, I would have thought, when you said that, I thought Eminem. That was the first thing that hit me. So
yeah, everyone thinks of Eminem.
Yeah, to say DMX, that makes some sense to me. I think there's definitely some, it could just be delivery, but there's definitely some feeling behind those words.
So is DMX angrier than Eminem on Kim?
No, but I mean,
that's an outlier song, right?
Nobody is angrier than Eminem on Kim.
Yeah, that one's
that
pretty
song
rough.
is hot. We talked about that when we did the 20th anniversary of Marshall Mathers, right? That is a tough hang.
Yeah, it's getting the skip, that one.
Yeah. It's got the skip back then, which makes me very proud of my 16-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't right. I'm not listening to this. But yeah, I like it. So Nate, give me a DMX song that you're like hits home for you about this? Like what is it? Is it What's My Name?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we were talking about behind the music. I think like pre-show or just like casual conversation via text is like, behind the music kind of came up a few weeks ago and so forth. So like DMX has a great behind the music. I think it's on YouTube. So once you layer that with the music, you're like, oh fuck, man, this guy had a rough life. And then you hear the lyrics and you hear his tone. And you're like, oh shit, this guy's pissed. And it gives another like meaning to that music. You're like, damn, like, there's no faking this. This guy is like grassroots, fucking pissed. This is all he has. And like, even though I'm not like in the same like position, it's like relatable. And back to the Bandcamp thing, it's like, dude, I want to give this guy my money because it's like, fuck, man, he did everything he could to get to where he is right now. And same with Eminem, same with Marshall Mathers, but like against all odds, like DMX is like fucking, tooth and nail, like trying to make it happen. So it gives another like, I don't know, it just gives another like layering to that music where it's like, oh fuck, dude, like you really are like coming from another place where like I don't even know where that is, but when I watch a movie that like almost brings me to the tears, like it brings that music to that place where it's like, oh fuck, dude, I really feel for you. So even though this is entertainment, yeah. So
he's not like Rick Ross, who pretends to be this like heavy hitter drug guy, but he was actually a correctional officer. He's not playing a part. Now,
Yeah.
DMX has been through some shit, I'm sure. I have no
totally.
idea, but I've listened to his music, and I would imagine that it wasn't the easiest upbringing.
He does it so good though, with like the barks and like the fucking what.
I mean, I loved Tangent on this. That first album, I remember. I think it came out. I think we're in 8th grade, and our other buddy Nate, from my side of the tracks, bringing that over to my house, and it was like a day that we didn't have school, and we were just listening to it in the living room, playing video games at my mom's house. And my brother and sister are a little younger than me, and they like tattled on me to my mom. They're like, you were listening to swear words on the radio and all that. I'm like, Ma, you bought me All Eyes on Me by Tupac like 3 years ago. Like, you don't think this is where I'm headed? Like, but yeah, he was angry then, so that makes sense.
Well, I think what cements it is he had that same level of aggression on It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Flesh of My Flesh, Great Depression, Year of the Dog. There's a couple others, I'm sure. Yeah, it just keeps going, and he still has that same fire where
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's right. We're like Lil Wayne, like those early
Reading
albums
Rainbow.
are fast and quick, and then he just kind of is leaned out of it.
Yeah. You guys, you've seen that Reading Rainbow clip, right?
Oh yeah.
So good.
It's so good. I'll send it to you guys because it's just like DMX dubbed into the Reading Rainbow theme. Fucking hysterical.
That's awesome. No,
Talk is cheap, motherfucker.
So good.
No, the reason I wanted to bring it up is because we're all like metal fans here. So like for hip hop, has
true,
at least a connotation on the outside world of being like flashy and like, life's good. But DMX, and Eminem for that matter, really bring it back down to its core, which is like, hey, like everyone's a human, like just trying to make it happen. And so like when I heard like DMX, I was like, oh fuck, man, like this is great music, and it's coming from like a real honest place. So like I can actually maybe not relate with it, but definitely like understand that like this guy is writing music to write music, not like writing music for like a top 40 hit, and so having to be a top 40 hit. So that always like transcends like, oh shit, dude, I will kind of back to the Bandcamp thing. If DMX came out today, I would like pay him personally and be like, dude, keep going. You're awesome. You're the man. Yeah.
So you can't relate to him. You never dated a girl named Cookies that you maybe met at an ice cream parlor?
About 3 Kims.
Yeah.
Alicia.
What these B words want from her? Yeah. Go listen to that track right now.
I listened to that on the way here.
I fucking love that song. I'm not gonna sing it, but I love that song.
That's funny.
I love that song, especially during 8th grade social when I thought I was like an 8th grader pimp.
Oh yeah, you definitely thought you were too. I remember that. These are real times. That's a good spot to end.
Yeah.
That was so. Actually, yeah, we'll stop there. But Tone, I will say one of mine, and I'm not going to save this for next time. I'll say it right now.
Nice.
If we did 3, my third one was going to be "Say It Ain't So" is a top 10 to 15 song all time.
I would agree with you. It's a great fucking.
The
song.
chorus is top 10.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yes.
I think the basic power chord, like, it's so basic,
It's a perfect rock song. It's a perfect rock song.
I'm happy you said that. Yeah. It just kind of like
redeeming ourselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't hate Weezer, man. This is just I don't think they put out a front to back album since the first one. So
yeah, no, it just kind of it just kind of puts aside everything that like you don't have to be complex to be good.
Truth,
right?
Green Day.
Yeah, Green Day. Yeah, Weezer, Beatles.
Yep,
or Beatles are kind of complex.
Totally. Cool. Well, hit us up on the socials at Audioslave on Twitter and Instagram, and then Gmail, audioslavepodcast@gmail.com. We are there. We're here for you guys. If you got ideas for topics, you got ideas for anything, hit us up.
And we'd love to hear your hot takes.
Yeah.
Throw your hot takes at us. Twitter, IG.
Good call.
We want to hear.
Chip will have hot takes. I know Chip will. Give us some, Chip.
Yeah, come on, Chip.
Chip and Mike in Texas. He's got some hot takes.
Ted in Michigan will probably have a couple.
Yeah.
Parker will, but he'll have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, give us segments. We'll make it a segment and then give you props. We can't pay you, but we might send you like a T-shirt.
The T-shirts, there are T-shirts. There's just a couple of them floating around. We're working on those.
We got merch in production. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. But good call. Yeah, send us your hot takes because we want to hear what you guys think.
Cool. That was a fun one. We'll do that again for sure.
Oh yeah, I got more hot takes sitting here.
Yeah, we won't
Ready to
steal the hot takes you guys send us in. We'll come up with new ones.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna listen to My Own Prison tonight. By Creed. Yeah.
I might listen to DMX.
Dude, I played so much DMX today in preparation for this. I was like, oh, dude, DMX is the best rapper of all time. Not really, but that's
no,
a different
he's
hot take.
good.
Hot
He's
take.
good.
Hot
Reading
take
Rainbow.
alert.
All right, peace, podheads.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Cheers, everyone.